Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Zero Analyst. This is the part 2 video of our SQL Library Management System project, which is part of our SQL project series. If you have not gone through the part 1 of Library Management System project, you can go through the part 1, which I will be adding in the video descriptions. So let's recap the task, whatever we have done in the part 1. Now in the part 1, we have set up the database of Library Management System project. Now we can see it here. And we have done some basic operations, which is called create operations, which is called create, read, update and delete task, which we have done. We have performed task on this library project management system. Now this is the database we have set up, which is branch table, employee table, issuance table, books table, return status and the member table. We have learned about the constraint and we have built connections between them based on some common column. For example, in branch table we have branch ID. If you see in employee table we have branch ID. So this branch ID is connected with this branch table. And then you can see we have set up this issue table, so which is connected with this books table. Books table is connected with the return table, and you can see this issues table is connected with the members table. So this is the database we have set up. We have imported the data into all of this table. Then we have inserted the records into all of this table, into this branch table, into this employees table, issuers table, books table, return table and the members table. So this is the query to create this database. Now let's see some tasks that we have performed. We have completed this task, which is task 1, where we have inserted some records. We have done update task, we have done delete task, we have done a retrieve task, and we have done some more tasks here. You can see. So we have done some of the task, which is you can see it here. We have performed some data analysis task, which you can see it here. Task 7, 8. Then 9, 10, 11 and 12. So now in this today video we will complete this advanced task. So in this advanced task you can see we have task from 13 to task 20, which we will complete today. So let's see the topic that you will learn today. Today we'll learn how to create a CTAS and generate reports using SQLs. You will learn how to create store procedures with parameters. You will learn how to create store procedures without parameters. You will learn how to create store procedures and handle exceptions. And you will learn how to perform advanced join and solve multiple SQL problems. So let's start the video. First, I'm going to download this repository and I'm going to show you how you can clone this repository. So to download this dataset, you can just click on the link which you will be getting from the video descriptions. So you will be on this page. You will just need to click on this code and you will just need to click on this link that you see. Once you click on this link, you will just have to go to your terminal. If you're using Mac, if you're using Windows, you just need to go to command line. So once you're in the terminal, here you just need to write a code called pwd. That's going to show you the present working directory. So that means in this folder, which is you can see users and Nazir, in this folder, so my file is going to be downloaded. If I want the file to be downloaded in different folders, I can just write one line code which is called cd. That means change directory, and I can simply write the directory where I want the file to be downloaded. So I want the file to be downloaded in the desktop, so I will just write something like this, which is called desktop. Okay, now this is going to download the file in desktop. If you're using Windows, you can just write the complete path, or you can just write related path like this. So you will just need to press OK. Now if you just want to verify present working directory pwd, you will see my now directory is desktop. So what I need to write, just something like git clone, and I need to paste the URL that I have copied. So once you paste the URL, you will need to just press enter. You can see the file has started downloaded. It has downloaded now completely. Now I will just exit out this. So click on cancel. Now we can see the file has been downloaded completely. So let's open it and let's see the file. So here you can see we have the schema, which is this app.library, and we have this search statement, and we have this solutions. So we have everything it here. So let's go ahead and first set up a database. Okay, so I'm just going to open my PostgreSQL, which is tools, which is pgadmin4. Now if you do not know how to install this pgadmin4, you can go through the video which I will mention in the video descriptions, where you will learn how to set up pgadmin4 and PostgreSQL in your machine. So let's first set up a database. So I'm just going to right click on this database and I will just click on create and create database. So here I will give a name. So a name I want to give it called library project. Okay, db. So this is the name I'm giving. You don't have to touch anything else. Just click on save. Now you can see the database is created already here. You can see it here. Now if you do not see, you just need to click on it, this extend icon, and you just need to click on this, which is Postgres 16, and then you just need to click on your database. You will see the database. So just click on the database, click on this query tool. So once you click on open query tool, so you will just need to import the code here to create the database, right? So you can just click on this folder icon that you see to import the queries. Now you need to go to your desktop From the desktop, you just need to import the code, which is called this one, app.library. So once you import the code, you just need to click on this play icon. So that is going to create the table inside this database, which is called library project db. You can see the table is created successfully. We can verify it. To verify it, you can just go to library project, go to schemas, and go to public, and then you can go to tables. Now in the tables, you can see all the tables are here. If you don't see it, just click on it and refresh it. Okay, and that means the tables are created. Next, what we need is that we need to import the data, right? If you want to check if this table has data or not, so you can just right click one of the table and click on this count rows. You see it's 0, so no records at the moment. Branch count 0, no records. Employee counts 0, right? Because we have just created the table, right? Next, what we need to do is that we need to import the data. To import the data, you can simply go ahead and open one more query tool. So we will insert the data into this table. So just click on it and click on this query tool. So it's going to create one more query tool. Here we will import the insert statement. So click on this folder icon and you will see insert statement, which has been downloaded here. So just click on open, and this is going to insert the data, right? So let's run it. You can see all the data are inserted. You can just verify it. You can see select everything from this issued. So you can see issued tables and data are inserted. Let's see the book table. So books table now 35. We can just change the name to books. So you can see books table. In the books table, we have 35 records. We want to check it for branch. So just write branch. So branch table data is imported. Now we want employees data is imported. Next, we want issued status. Okay, issued status data is imported. You can see it here. And we have members, so you can check for members. So members and data are imported. And we have return status, so return status. So the data are imported in the return table. So these are the insert statement. Now today we will insert some more records. So all this insert we have done in the last video. So in this video we will insert some more records so that we can perform the advanced level analysis, right? So to do that, I will just create one more query tool. So I will just cancel it maybe here, and I'm also going to cancel this one. So I'm just going to select the database again and click on this query tool. Now whenever you open a query tool, make sure that you are on the right database. Now if this connection sign here, it says library project db, that means I'm inside library project db. So this query tool that I have, this is inside this project, which is inside this database. Now I will click on this folder icon. Now I'm going to add a new insert statement, which is called insert statement 2. So let me just go ahead and select the insert statement 2. Now I'm going to add this insert statement 2 in the GitHub repository where you can get all this file. So you just need to click on this folder icon, this run icon. It is going to insert some new records. Okay, so it has inserted this 4 new records in the issued status table, and it has created a new column called book quality in the return status, and it has added good in each return. The book quality is good. Then I have updated few of the records in the return status table. The book quality column is damaged. So now you can see this query has inserted some new records, and it has created new column in the return status. The column name is book quality, and I have updated a few records as damaged. Okay, so this is the insert statement 2. So let's go ahead and close it. Now let's go ahead and open a new query tool where we will write and solve today's SQL problem, which is the advanced problem. Okay, so let's just write a command called SQL project library management system. Okay, note 2. Okay, or maybe query 2. So here let's first see all the data that we have inside this table. So first I want to see the data inside the books table. So I'm going to say select everything from books. So that's my first table. Now let's see the data. You can see we have this data, which is 35 records of books in the books table. Now let's go ahead and see the data in rest of the table. Oops. So let's go ahead and see the data in the rest of the table. So next I have branch. So let's see the branch table. In the branch table, I have 5 branch information. So you can see it here: branch ID, branch manager ID, branch address, and the contact number. Let's go ahead and see the employees table. So in employees table, let's run it. You can see in employees table we have 11 records, where you can see we have 11 employees after the second insert. Let's go ahead and see the issued status. Let's see how many books so far we have issued. So issued status table, and you can see we have total 39 records after all the insert that we have done. Then let's see about the members table. So you just need to write members. So let's write members and click on play icon. You can see we have total 12 members, which are the member of library. Last, we want to see the return status. Let's see return status. Okay, now in the return status you can see we have 18 records which is returned, okay, so far. Now let's go ahead and start solving the advanced SQL problems. So let's go ahead and see the first problem that we have, which is task 13, I think. Let's copy the task. So I'm just going to copy this task and I'm going to put it here. I will just use a multi-line comment. So I would say slash stars. So that's a multi-line comments. I would say star slash to close the multi-line comments. Now this video is going to be little long, but trust me, this is going to be really worth it because you will learn a lot of new concept today. So let's see here the task that we have at the moment, which is task 13. It says identify the members with overdue books. So if you know about the library domain, so in the library domain, if there's a person who issued a book, right? So that person has to return the book up to the certain date, right, up to the certain days. So if the person doesn't return the books after the certain days, there would be a fine, right? So there would be a days limit. So here we have the days limit 30 days. That means if somebody is taking a book, so that person must return the book within 30 days. If that person return the book after the 30 days, so all those days going to be considered as a overdues and they may need to pay some fine. Okay, so here it says identify the members with overdues books. Okay, write a query to identify the members who have overdue books. Okay, it says assume that 30-day return period, so that means they must return within 30 days. Okay, display the member ID, member's name, book title, issue date, and the overdues. So what you need to return is that members ID we need members name, we need book title, we need issue date, and we need days of overdues, like how many days they kept the book, which is greater than 30 days. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see how we can solve this question. Okay, now first let's see the table that we will need to solve this question, because see we need to return members ID, member name. So member name we can get from the member table, member ID we can get from the any table like book issuance table, right? So book title we can get from the book table. So issue date we can get from the issuance table. So overdue we can get from the issuance table. So we need to do multiple join here. So let's write down the approach. Okay, so first I think here I will start with the book issued table, which is called issued status. So issued status table I need to join with the table which is called member table. Okay, so that I can get for each member name. So I will join with members table. That's the first thing I will do, and then I will join this everything with the book table, because I need to get the book title as well, right? So I would join this with the book table, which is books. Okay, then I will join this query with the books table. Now after that, what do I need? Right here I would need again, let's see, member ID, member name we got it, book title we got it, issue date we got it, days of overdue. To get this days of overdue, we need to see if that book is being returned or not. If that book is returned, we don't want to count that as overdues, right? If the book is not returned, then we want to call it as overdues, right? That means we need to get again join with one more table called return status. Okay, so all this join I will have to do. Once I do the join, then I need to filter out those books which are being returned, right? So I would say filter books which is returned, correct? That's what I want to check. And then second I want to check that if the overdue is more than 30 days, right? So I would say overdue greater than 30 days, because if the overdue is under 30 days, we will not consider it as an overdue. Okay, so let's first start with the book issued table. So I'm just going to copy this book issued table. So from here, so let's see book issued table. Now you can see I have the book issued table, and in the book issued table I have a column which is called, let's see, book ISBN, right? This is the book ISBN column I have. Now if you want to see in the book table, we have book ISBN, correct? So which is the book ID basically, which is book ISBN. So we can join book issued table with the book table with based on this ISBN column, correct? But first we want to join book issued with the members. So let's see in the members table what we have, the common column. So in the members table we have member ID, and if you see in the book issued table we have the member ID, like which member has issued the book, right? So here we have let's see, issued member ID, correct? So that means based on this and the member ID in the member table we can make a join, right? So that is what I will do first, then I will do a join with the books table. Okay, so I'm just going to do inner join here. So I'm just going to say join this table. I'm going to name it called SIST. Okay, so I will join with members as M. So member table I'm naming it called M. So I will do a join at M dot, so on. So this is the conditions you write to join. So I'm saying on M dot member ID IST dot issued member ID. See, by default SQL has given auto suggestions, right? So this is my first join I have done. Now let's just run it and let's see the data, right? How it looks like so far. So now I can see the column has increased because now we are getting the column from the members table as well, like member address, registration date, and other informations. Okay, we will select the column later on. Now we need to join this table with the book table because we need, for each book ISBN we need the book name, right? So I am going to do one more join which is called join. Again, this is going to be inner join. Based on each ID I will get the book name. That's it, that's my task. Okay, I will say join and join with books. Okay, books as B. Okay, so this is the name I'm giving, BK. Okay, so books as BK I'm giving. Now what is the conditions? So if you see, the condition is going to be bk.isbn, which is book table of ISBN, and IST of issued book ISBN. So in the IST table, in the issued table, you have, there's a column called issued book ISBNs. Okay, so based on this I have done a join. Now my columns will be increased, so you can see now I have more columns. Okay, so now I'm getting all the columns from the book table as well, and I'm getting the book name as well. You can see it here, correct? So this is fine. Next, let's see what else we need. Okay, next we need is the return status, because we need to find out each book and their return informations, correct? So if it is a return or not, what is the return date? So I will do one more join. Okay, now I will say join with return status as RS. Okay, so I have done one more join, just return status with return table, so that is called RS, and I will define as on, and here I will say RS of issued ID, IST of issued ID, because if you see the return table, in return table we have issued ID. So each book, while somebody is returning the book, we are capturing the issued ID. Okay, so we have done one more join, but here I will have to tell left join. Why? Because whatever join we have done, that has created one table, right? The table we have seen earlier. Now if you just want to cross verify, you can just run it here till here. Okay, so whatever join we have done, we want to keep all the records, which is 39 issuance. But if you do an inner join with the return table, because in return table there is only 18 books which are being returned, so in inner join that means we will only left with 18 records. So we want to say left join because we want all these 39 records, and for all these 39 records we want to find out they are being returned or not. If they are not being returned, so I will have some null. Okay, so that's the reason I'm saying left join. Let's run it, and you see still we have 99 records. Now we have some more columns, which is here you can see return ID and issued ID and some other columns, right? So here you can see in the return ID we have some records where the book is being returned and some records where book is not being returned. So return ID is null and the issued ID is also null and the return date is also null. So we don't know if it is being returned or not. Okay, so all the joins are done. Now let's select the column that we need. Okay, so let's again see the outcome. What are the things we need return? So we need member ID. Okay, so I'm going to select, what I need is the member ID. So member ID I will be getting from the table which is called issued, which is IST. So I would say IST dot member ID, what I am looking for. So next what I need is that member's name, which I will be getting from the member table. So I would say M dot, because in the member table name I have given as M, right? Member name, correct? Next what I need is the book's name. You can see book title. So I would get that from book table, which is called BK, and book title. Okay. Next, what I need is the issue date. So I will be getting the issue date from the issuance table, which is ist dot issue date. Okay, which is going to be issue date. Now next, what I need is the number of days overdue. Right now I need something called overdues. So how do we get the overdues? Because we do not have any column called overdues, right? But we have something called issue date, and we have something called a return date, right? So you see we have a return date column and we have a issue date column. So we can combine these two columns and create something called overdues. Okay, so let's first see that I want to see the return date. So rs table, which is the return status table of the return date. So I will need the return date. Okay, let's say only I need few columns so that I can build my logic. Let's go ahead and run it. Now you can see nicely we have 39 records, which is here you can see, and we have issued member ID, member name, book title, issue date, and the return date. Now you see this book was issued on this date, which is 22 of March 24, and this was returned on this date. You see this book was issued on this 25 of March, but it is not being returned, correct? So here, see, if in case we want to find first of all the overdue, we need to delete whatever whatever book have been returned. So we don't want to see this, right? So what I can say here is that I will say where. Now this is where the order of execution comes into picture, because where logic only comes after all the joins, because all the joins become one table, then you use where logic with any of the columns. So I can go ahead and say where this return date. Okay, I can say this return date, which is rs dot return date, okay, is null. So that is how I will filter out all the books which are not being returned. Okay, so let's run it, and we will have only 24 books which are not being returned, because if it is written I will have the return date, right? So these are the books which are not being returned. Perfect. Now what I need is that, let's see again. So let's read the question again. So it says identify the members with overdue books. Write a query to identify the members who have overdue books. Assume 30 days is the overdue period. So display the member ID, member name, book title, issue date, and the days of overdue. So you need to count the days of overdue. So how do we count the days of overdue? Because this book is not being returned till today date, right? So today is what date? Today is 24, right? So till 24 this book is not being returned. So that means we can say the issue date, I mean we can say today minus the issue date, right? So that is how we will get the overdues days. So what I can do is that I can create a new column where I can say today date. Now how do we get the today date? So to get a today date, there is some functions called current date in PostgreSQL. So you can just use this function called current date. So if you want to see this current date, what does this return? So if you just execute this, you will see this will return the system, from the system the today date, which is 24th of August, right? So here what I can do, I can say that current date, okay, because the current date would be the bigger, right? And the book issue date would be in the past. So I would say current date minus the issue date, which is going to be ist of issue date. This one I would save it as overdues, okay, days of overdue or overdues days. Okay, so let's kind of run it, and we will have the result now. Okay, so we have now the overdues. You can count, you can see for each members, for each book, right? So you can see it here for each members, for each member name, for each book, and their issue date, and not a return date is null because they have not been returned, and their overdues date, right? Now I can see some book that is just issued 5 days back. This book is just issued on 17th of August, so it has been just 7 days, right? So we don't want to consider it as overdues because it is still under 30 days. So we want to ignore it because we don't want to see book which is being issued in just last 30 days. Okay, so here let's see if there is any more records. So this is the record you can see. So this book was issued on 11th of August. In this month only, it's been just 13 days, right? This one 7 days. So let's see if in case we have any more records. So I think these 3 or 4 records we have. So we have total 24 records. So let's go ahead and filter out this. Okay, so we don't want to see if the book issued is within 30 days. Okay, so what I can do is that I can go ahead and say here. So here I'm going to use n logic, and I can say if the return date is null, that's the one conditions. And second, I want this overdue count must be greater than 30. So what I can do is that I can just copy this one, this logic. I cannot use the alias in the where conditions, but I can use this logic which is says current date minus the issue date and greater than 30. So that is going to select the book where the issue date is past 30 days, I mean greater than past 30 days. Okay, so let's run it and we will have 21 records. Now if you want to verify it, all the books that you see, they have which is the issue date which is more than 30 days, right? So these are the overdues. Okay, we can do some order by the member ID to see each member and their book that is not being returned. So order by one means the first column of our query, which is this one. So let's go ahead and see now. Now you can see member, which is this one. The member name is Bob. So Bob has got two books. So one book has overdue of 151, the second book overdue is 152. So then we have Carol. So for Carol, one book. Then we have David. For AB, we have all these books which are not being returned. Okay, now we don't want to see this return date, so we can just delete this one from the query or comment out. So I would just ignore it from here. Now let's run this query. Now I can see that we have solved the problem 1, which is here we have the issued ID, we have member ID, we have book title, issued date, and the days of overdue. Okay, so this is how we have solved the problem. Now this is the task 13. Let's see the task 14 now. So let's go ahead and save it first of all so that I don't lose it. So I'm just going to say solution 2 and I would name it called advanced solution 2, and I will just say library management system project. Okay, so I will just save it desktop for now, then I'm going to upload it in the GitHub for you to get access. Okay, just for reference. So let's see the question number 14. Now we have the question number 14 here. Again, I'm going to use a multi-line command here. So /* and here I would use /*. Okay, now it says update the book status on a return. Whenever there is a book return, so we want to update the status, right? That book is being returned. So it says write a query to update the status of the book in the books table to yes. The availability should be yes when they are returned based on the entries in the return table. Now if you want to understand, in this library project, all the book that I have added only one quantity. Okay, so let's say if as soon as the book is issued, so the book is set manually to the status, available status set to no. That means that book is not available anymore. Okay, now similarly, when the book is being returned, we want to create a function that it should automatically change this book available status in the book table to yes. That means yes, the book is being returned, so this status should be yes. Okay, so if you want to see the books table, so this is the book table, right? Let's see that book table again. So in the book table, you can see this is the book ID. Okay, now this book status showing yes, it is available. Okay, so if in case let's see something no, let's say this book, that is this one. Okay, brief history about humankind. So this book is showing no. That means this book is being issued to somebody. So as soon as that person return the book, we want this to update it to yes. Now what happens when somebody return a book? You don't touch this book table, right? You touch this return table because you add a new record in the return table. You say, hey, return ID, issued ID, book name, return date, and the return ISBN and the book quality. Okay, you add all this record. So now what we want simple is that as soon as somebody add a record in the return table, that means as soon as somebody return a book, we want to change that book status to available for other student in the book table. That is what the objective is. Okay, so let's see how we can achieve it. So now if you see here, okay, write a query to update the status of the books in the book table to yes when the book is being returned based on the entries in the return table. Now we can achieve this using a store procedures, or we can do it manually. So what you can do, as soon as the book is being returned, you can add a record in the return table, then you can run another update statement in the book table to change the update status manually. So let's do one record at the time manually. So let's say I want to add a record. Okay, I want to add a record, one of the issued record which is not being returned. So let's see first of all the issued table. So I'm just going to first check the issued table. So let's go ahead and see from the issued table. Now if you see here, I have the issued ID from 1 to something like 18. Okay, let's go ahead and see one of the issued table. So we have issued ID. So let's say I want to consider an issued ID which is called IS130. Okay, now first of all we need to check if this book is set as let's say available. Okay, so first of all I will just take this ISBN from here, which is called 978, and I will check in the book table. So I would say select everything from books table, and let's see the data in the book table. I will just copy this ISBN. So where ISBN equals, okay, let's see if in case we have this record in the books table. So we will change the status to no first of all. Okay, so the status showing as, I will just change it to no for now manually. Okay, I would say update and set where. Okay, so update what? Update books table, set what? Set status equals no. Okay, now for what? For this book ID. Okay, so I'm just changing it manually right now so that the status gets changed to no. Let's say the book is not available at the moment, and if you see the book table, the status showing now no. Okay, now if you see the return table, if you see the issued table, you see this book was issued to one of the customers. Okay, one of the members. Let's just close it. Now if you see this table, you see, let's see again. Okay, so the column name is here, it's a little different. I think it's issued book ISBN. Okay, now you can see here this book was issued on this date, which is 3rd of April, and to this customers, which is C106 members, and by this employee, and this book is not being returned. How do you check? You can check the return table as well. So you can say select everything from return table, return status. So in the return status, we don't have the book ISBN, but we have something called issued ID. So we need to check issued ID, which is IS130. Okay, so I would say issued ID equals IS130. Okay, now I would just use where. Okay, so let's see if this book is being returned or not. Now you can see this book is not being returned. Perfect. Okay, so this is the example. Let's say now if in case you want to change the setup, change this status manually, what you can do, you can simply, let's say this customers, that whatever the customer, I think see something it was, whatever the customers, we can again check the customer ID. So this customer is C106. This is the member C106. Now let's say this C106 has returned the book today. Okay, so as soon as the member return the book, we want to add a record in the return table, right? So you can do it manually. How do you do it? You simply use insert, right? You say insert into return status, correct? I can define some of the column. Let's say you want, let's see the return status table, which is here. What are the columns we have? Okay, we have all this column. Let's say we want to add return ID. So return ID, then we want something called issued ID, because these are the mandatory, right? If somebody is returning a book, we need to check the issued ID to see if that is overdue or if there's any fine or anything. So return ID, issued ID. So next I need a return date, correct? So return date. These are the 3 records which are mandatory we want to include, and maybe something called book quality. So book quality, these are the columns we want to include while we are entering a record in the return status when somebody return a book. So we'll say values. Here we are just adding 1 record. Okay, so things what you need is this return ID. So return ID is going to be auto created. Let's say I'm just going to create something called RS125. Okay, so this is the return ID I'm creating. Now issued ID, I will ask what is the issued ID. So issued ID is this one. So I'm just going to add it here. This is the issued ID. Okay, next what I need is the return date. Now I can use the current date functions. Current date, so it's automatically going to add the today date from the system. Next I need the book quality. Let's say I'm going to add call good for now. Okay, so this is going to simply add 1 book in the return table. If you just want to see the result after this, you can just write this to code. Okay, let's see. Now you see this book has added in the return table. Okay, so return ID 1 to 5, we just added it, and today, which is the today date, you can see the book quality is good. Now what do you want? We need to again update the book status in the book table. Now if you see in the book table, still the book status is showing as no. So we need to change it to yes. Why? Because this book has been returned, correct? So here in the book table, again, what do you do? We need to just write an update statement, correct? So we will say something like this, update to yes. Okay, so let's say update to yes, and let's print, select everything from books for this book. Okay, now you can see now the book is showing available, correct? So that means we need to go through all this code. As soon as it return, we need to first add a record, then we need to get the issued ID, and from the from the issued table, based on the issued ID, we need to get this ISBN. Once we have the ISBN, then we need to go back to the book table, and for that ISBN we need to update the status to no to yes, correct? So all this task we will do manually, right? Now all these things we can solve using SQL store procedures, where everything will be done automatically. As soon as somebody enter a return status, it is going to do everything. Okay, so that is what we will do. So let's see how. So I'm going to say store procedures. Okay, store procedures, I will just mention call store procedures. Okay, so this store procedures, the task is very simple. As soon as somebody enter a record in the return table, it should update the status in the book table. That is the task that we want to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that create or replace. Then the syntax is very simple. Create, replace, procedures. You need to give a name, so I will name it call add return records. Okay, so this is the name. You can give any name. So this is the name I could think of it now. So add return records. So this is fine. The syntax is very simple. You say create or replace procedures. So if there's any procedures by this name, it is going to be deleted. Now here you need to say something called language. For Postgres it is mandatory, so you say language. I need to write just called PGSQL. So this is part of syntax. Is a language PGSQL. That means procedural language Postgres SQL. Okay, now you just need to use something called S, and you need to use a delimiter. This is a $sign. This is a mandatory. So here are the fun part. You have something called begin, you have something called end. Okay, so every statement must be closed with this semicolon now, and then you have some $sign here. Okay, that is the syntax. Okay, so let's go ahead and write a procedures. Now there is something else called declare. Okay, so this declare is to declare a variable, which you will see in the later on. Okay, now this is the syntax of creating procedures. So here you just need to write this, that's going to create the procedure. So all your logic, all your code, you just need to put here. Okay, all your logic and code. Okay, whatever task you want to perform using these procedures, so this is why you want to write it here. So you need to understand one thing: when you create a procedures, you write a lot of code, right? So next time whenever somebody is going to add a record, he's not going to write this code, he's just going to add a record. Simple, he's going to write an insert statement. Okay, we will see that like how. So all this logic we will need to build here. Okay, so let's see how. So first of all, when somebody is adding a record, what are the things we need? So if you want to see it here, when somebody add a record in the return table, like this insert statement, we need something called return ID, which we will enter by ourselves, or the employee will enter by their self. Okay, so we will have something called a return ID. Okay, now this is going to entered by the user, so I'm going to use something called P. So this is one of the parameter. Okay, so that's fine. Next, what I want, next I want the issued ID, because I will ask, hey, what is the issued ID, or I would check in the system, correct? So I want the issued ID, and this is also going to entered, so I will just name it called P underscore. Okay, this is our second parameters. I want the user to enter when somebody will run this function. Okay, next what I want, so other than I want the book quality to be entered by the member, by the employee. So I would say P underscore book quality. Now the reason I'm using this P underscore, so that I will know that okay, this is the parameters. Okay, so this is fine. Now to call this function, somebody will just need to write something called call and this function name. Okay, and they will need to give three parameters, like in three box. One is they need to enter a return ID, they need to enter a issued ID, and they need to enter a book quality. As soon as they enter it, everything is going to be done. Okay, whatever we want. So all this thing we need to mention it here. So let's say first thing what we want to do. So first thing, as soon as somebody enter a records, okay, what you want to do is that you want to update into the return status, isn't it? That's the first thing you want to do. So you want to write an insert code, which is this one, that update the records into the insert statement. So that is our first logic. So all the logic must be one indentations to the right. So that means inside this logic, which is begin and end, right? So as soon as somebody return a book, we want to update this, right? We want to insert into return status. Okay, so this is the table name, and on the column I want return ID, because the return ID is going to enter by the users, And then second, I want the issued ID, that is also going to entered by the users, I mean the employees. And the return date, okay, so that is going to entered by the system. So I don't want this return date from the employees, I want it to enter by the system, but I will mention it here. Okay, so then bill book quality, which is going to enter by the employee. So employee will check the book and then employee will add good or bad, whatever it is. Okay, so here that means this here all these values that I'm inserting, all these values I want insert automatically based on what user enter. Okay, so I will delete all this value. So I want here, what I want to enter is this one, which is called p dot return id. So return id will be here. Okay, that's the one thing. Second, I want the issued id, which is entered by the users, okay, which will go to this issued id column. Fine. So I'm using p dot issued id because this is going to entered by the users. Okay, that's the second thing. Third thing, what I want is this one, which is called return date. So that I want entered by the system, which is current date. Okay, and these two are entered by the user. You can see I'm taking only 3 parameters here. Okay, next, what I want to insert, I want to insert into 1 2 3 4 column, right, this book quality column. So this one I want to again enter by the users, so that's going to be this one. So all these things you don't have to use a quote sign because these are the parameters, it is going to enter by the users. Okay, so every statement that you write, every code inside a stored procedures, they must be closed with a semicolon. Okay, that's the mandatory rule. So this is our first line of code. So here I can just write something called a comment. I'm saying inserting into returns based on users input, correct? So based on user input, you are inserting into the returns. That is the task one. Okay, fine. So once you insert it, second, what do you want? Second, you want to update the records into the books table to yes, correct? If it is available as no, you want to update it to yes. So let's see how you update. You update like this, isn't it? So you will just need to write this code, which is called update statement. Now you say update books, set status to no. From no, you need to set it to yes because the book is being returned. Okay, and you say where ISBN, and you just need to write the ISBN. Now the thing is that here you have only taken user return ID, which is by given by the employees. You have taken the issued ID, which is given by the employees. You have taken the book quality. Now we do not have this, which is ISBN, right? So that means how do we update in the books, because books table doesn't know issued ID, return ID, right? So we need to get this ISBN. Now you know one thing, okay, you know one thing, that this ISBN we can get based on this issued ID. If you see the issued table, if you see the issued table here, in the issued table, while the book is being issued, we write enter the book name and the book ISBN. Let's see, for this issued ID, the book ISBN is this one, right? So that means from the issued table we can get this book ISBN. So that is what we need to do here. So what I will do here is that I will need to get the book ISBN. Now how do I get the book ISBN is the simple like this line of code, which is called, let's say, let's write it here. Okay, so we need the book ISBN. So I will simply use like one column. Okay, no problem. We just need this column name, which is called issued book ISBN. Okay, so you can simply write one line of code here to get the book ISBN, because we need to find the book ISBN here. So I can just go ahead and say select, okay, one column. What is the column? Is issued book ISBN. Okay, so I'm getting it from the book issued table. So from book, not book, it's issued table, right? Issued status table. Okay, from the issued table I'm just getting one column, which is book ISBN, and I will use the where conditions here. Okay, what is the where conditions? I would say where issued ID, based on this issued ID, because I know that issued ID is going to be entered by the employee, so employee will enter the correct issued ID. So based on the issued ID I can find the book name or book ISBN, isn't it? So here I would say issued ID equals what the employee has entered. Okay, so this is my one line of code. Now here I have the book ISBN ready with me. Okay, so this ISBN I need to use it here. Okay, now this is the ISBN that you have got inside this code, right? So we need to save this ISBN somewhere so that we can use this ISBN here to update it. Okay, so the way you do it, you will write something called into, okay, and you just need to save it in one of the variables. So if you do not know variables, so variable are the text where you can store the informations for the temporary inside the code or inside any language. Okay, so we can say b underscore just to ensure this is a variable, and I can say that ISBN. Okay, So this is the variable. Perfect. Okay, so I can just go ahead and use this variable here. Now hold on, we need to tell this data that we are expecting from this code. Okay, like data types. So everything has a data types, so that is what we need to define it here. Okay, using the define, you need to tell, hey, I am expecting a variable called b.isbn, and what is the data type I'm expecting, I need to give it here. So isbn seems like varchar 50, we have it here. Okay, so I can go ahead and say varchar 50. Okay, now I don't need varchar 50, I can even say varchar 25 or maybe 10. Okay, let's see the books table. Let's see what is the book table, the data types. So this need to ensure that data types have the same limit, otherwise it's going to give us an error. So in the book table, isbn seems to be like 50 only, so no problem, I will just mention it as ISBN 50. Okay, now every statement has to close with semicolon, so this is one of the statement. So here you need to declare all the variables that you are creating inside this begin and end code. Okay, so we got the book ISBN, we have defined this ISBN that we are getting, which is storing into this variable. Then we are defining that data types, which is going to be varchar 50. Okay, now we are using this ISBN here to update this book status to yes. Okay, from no. Okay, this is fine. Now this is what we wanted to do. Let's see if we need to do anything else. Okay, so I think this is what we want to perform. Okay, now what we want to do is that we can print a message. See, as soon as somebody trigger these functions, they will not see anything, they do not know if that is added or if it's not added, right? So we want to print some message here. Okay, so that is what you can do, something called a raise notice. Okay, raise notice as something like print commands that you do in Python. So you can just put your message that you want to showcase inside these codes. Okay, so you can say here, thank you for returning, okay, the book. You can use some placeholders. Now I can showcase the book ID or book name, so I'm going to showcase the book name for you. Okay, so I'm going to say raise notice, thank you for returning the book, using these placeholders. Now let's go ahead and say book, and I would say comma. Now I want to showcase the book name. Okay, instead of this book, I would say something like this. Okay, now book name, I don't have the book name, right? I have the ISBN, but I can get the book name as well. So what you can do here is that you can get the book name, this variables. Okay, so I can say one more, so I can write one more column call on the book table. It's called book title, book title, and I will insert into next variable call b underscore book name. Okay, so the data that I'm getting is going to store first into this, and the second is going to into this book name. Now book name, I need to define the data types as varchar 80. So I will define one more variable which is called book name, and this is going to be varchar 80. Okay, so far everything is very simple. Okay, now here I want to say thank you for returning the book. Okay, now I want to showcase the book name here, so I'm just going to say here what I want to print is the book name. I can also print the user who has returned the book. Okay, so that's going to be little long, but for now I want to keep it simple, so I'm just going to say book name, and I will close it here. Okay, so that is it, and my store procedure is done. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this to create the store procedures. Let's go ahead and say this and run it. So there is a syntax error which is p.return id. Let's just check it. p.return id. Okay, so we can quickly check p.return id. Okay, so one thing I missed. Okay, so this p.return id, it's going to enter by the users. Okay, so here I will need to tell the data types, like what data I'm expecting the users to enter. See, otherwise user will enter anything, right? So I need to define the data types here. So I'm saying p.return id is going to enter by the users. I'm saying SQL that hey, in this p.id I'm expecting what is the data types. Okay, so what is the data type of return id? If you see the return table, let's see, so everything has to maintain the same data type. So return id I'm expecting varchar 10, so I need to tell SQL that hey, the return id that the user will enter, I want to ensure that they enter under 10 characters. So I would say here varchar 10. Okay, this is a very important step. For the issued id also, it's a varchar 30. So here I can go ahead and say p.issued id I'm expecting something called varchar 30, or we can check in the issued table what is the limit. Okay, so we need to ensure they are in the same limit. Let's say issued id seems to be 10, so we can define it like in the 10, otherwise I will may get error. So for now I will just define it issued id as varchar 10. Book quality, so book quality, for that you can check what is the data limits in the return status table. So it's going to be under 15. Okay, so we can say here varchar 15. So each user has to enter the data based on this limit. Okay, now let's go ahead and create the store procedures. Let's run it again. Now it says v dot name. Okay, I missed a comma here. Okay, so I'm just giving a name here. Thank you for returning book. Now I just want to also include maybe the, it's fine, I think these are the only things I need. Let's go ahead and run it. So let's go ahead and see if it's, yeah, I can see the store procedures created. Now if you want to verify it, you can just right click and click on refresh. And I just want to say congratulations if you have managed to create this store procedures. This is a great task. It will come inside the procedures. You see there is a procedures name called add returns records. Okay, so whenever somebody want to use these functions, they just need to write one line of code which is called add returns. Okay, now this add return function expect three parameters. Okay, so the parameters are like this return id, user id, issued id, and the return date and the book quality. Four parameters basically. Okay, now let's go ahead and see some of the books that is being issued and not being returned, and let's see if their details we can find out. So first I need to see one of the book which is in the issued status. So maybe I want to see one of the book which is being issued, so and that is not being returned. So let's say I want to see this one which is maybe something like 135. Okay, I will check if this 135 is being returned or not from the return status. So let's see. So issued id 135 seems to be not being returned. Perfect, so this one we can use. Okay, so 135. Now for the 135 I need to check what is the ISBN, right? So for 135, issued id 135, which is this one. Let's see for this one 135. Okay, this one. So the book name is a brief history about humankind. Okay, so this book, let's see that if this status is showing yes or no in the book table. Okay, so that's what we can do using this kind of ISBN, right? So I will just copy this ISBN and I will go to the book table, and I need to first make sure that this data that we have in the book table, the status is showing as no at the moment. Okay, so let's go to book table. Now let's see ISBN. So we just need to use the ISBN which is called where ISBN equals. Okay, put this inside the quotes. Let's go ahead and put it inside the quotes. Let's see. Oops, I just need to close it. Let's see. Now I can see we have the book table entry and that is showing status as no. That means this is the perfect example. Okay, so we will be using 135 issued id. I think it was 135, so we'll be using 135 issued id. Okay, so let me just delete it from here now. Now let's say 135, let's see when it was issued. So for that you can just say select everything from, let's say, issued status. You can say where, and you can say issued id equals is 135. Okay, I think this is the syntax. Yes, so you can see this was issued on this date, which is 8 of April, and it is not being returned, because if it is not being returned you will be able to see in the return table as well. So you select everything from return status. Okay, so you can see it is not being returned yet, so it's showing null, correct? So we want to, let's say we want to assume that okay, the member is returning this book which is called is 135, this issued id book. Okay, so we will see if the member return this book, does it update the book table or not. Okay, so we will need again a lot of things here. So first of all I need the ISBN again, so I'm just going to get the ISBN again. Okay, I need to get this ISBN. Okay, so let's go ahead and just save this ISBN somewhere. Okay, so issued is issued id is is 135 and isbn. Okay, just to cross verify our functions. Okay, I'm just going to kind of save these informations for now. Okay, now let's say somebody want to update the record. Now before updating, before adding the return records, let's verify everything. Okay, so I'm going to say select everything from books where isbn, let's verify it again, isbn equals this. Okay, let's see if this book status at the moment. So the book status, you can see it is no, that means it is not available at the moment. We have verified. Next I want to see if this book is being issued or not. Okay, so I will say select everything from issued status. Okay, where issued book isbn. Okay, so let's see here. Now you can see this book was issued on this particular date, which is we have already checked, and yeah, we can see the we can verify the details. Now next what I want is the return table to see if this book is being returned again. Okay, return status. Okay, so just to test our function, so here I cannot check with the isbn, but I can check with the issued id. In the return table I have something called issued id, so I would say issued id what, which is is135 as a quotes as a text. Let's check. Now I can see this book is not being written. Okay, perfect. Now all this code we need just to test function, so I'm just going to name here call, just forget it, name called testing functions. Okay, that we have created. Okay, all right, so what is the functions we're testing? You can see these functions we're testing. Now let's go ahead and test these functions. How do you test? You just need to call the functions. You can say call, and you can write this, which is called add return records. Okay, now this function takes 4 parameters if you remember. So the parameters what it is expecting us is that this, which is called return id. So we need to create a return id by ourselves. So let's say I want return id something called r135. Okay, or 138, that's the return id. Now next what I need, again I can check few of the return id, like how does it look like. So return id start with rs. Okay, so I would say rs138. Make sure there is no rs138. Okay, perfect. Next it is asking the issued id, so we need to find the issued id, which is going to be this. Okay, next it will ask that let's see, return date. So the date is going to be today. So let's see, the date is not a parameter, so we don't need the date. We need return id, issued id, and the book quality. Only 3 parameters, sorry. So book quality is we are giving as good. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute the functions. Now to execute the function, you just need to write this line of code. Everything will be done. It is going to first insert the record in the return table. Second, it's going to check the isbn in the issue table based on this issued id. Then it is going to update the status in the book table to no to yes. Okay, so then it is going to display a message. Let's run it. So we're getting some error. Let's just quickly verify it. Book title does not exist. So book title, we did a mistake in the the table inside the functions. We need to fix that. Okay, let's see, book isbn, book title. Okay, so let's see if the book title is the issued status. Okay, so we did a mistake here. Book title doesn't exist in the issued status, so it's something else. Let's see. Now let's quickly kind of check this. What is this column correct name? So the column correct name is issued book name. Okay, so we need to tell the right name here by saying issued book name. Alright, so I have identified the issue. So the issues what was with this code. So there was a bug in this code. If you see here, I'm getting the book ISBN, I'm getting the book name, which is also correct. So I'm storing it, book ISBN, into this variable, book name into this variable from this, which is issued status table. But in the where conditions, I am basically not using the right logic. See, I'm saying I'm comparing issued ID equals issued ID. So here I should say this issued ID is going to enter by the user, which is this one. Okay, the issued ID, which is going to be this one, the parameter issued ID. Okay, because that is going to enter by the user, isn't it? So that was the only error which I was doing. So now let's create the function again. Okay, let's create the function again, and let's test our records. Now first I need to delete this records from the return table. So I will just go ahead and say select everything from the return table, which is issued id is 135. Let's ensure that because this book is now written, let's ensure that this book is not returned. So I would just write a delete statement here. I would say delete from this return table. Okay, just write it, so it's going to delete the records. Okay, now if I just want to verify it, this record is gone. So assume that this book is not being written at the moment. Okay, so let's go ahead and now run it. You can see now this book is not showing because this book, which is status IS 135, is not being written. We can just verify it. Return status IS 135. We can just check IS 135. Seems like it's not at return. Okay, which is perfect. Now let's quickly check the book status. So let's say the book status seems to be, this is the book name and this is the ISBN ending with 71. Let's quickly check the book name in the book table, and the status should be available at the moment. So let's go ahead and see where we have the book table. Okay, let's check return table, books table. Okay, let's write one code here. I would say, yeah, this one. Okay, so the book status still showing no, which is perfect because now we will add a record into the return table and we will see if this no is going to update it to yes or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and now add one more record. So I'm just going to delete it for now. Okay, so the record we are adding, which is a return ID called RS138 and the issued ID 135, and the quality is good, which is checked by the employee. Let's see. Now I see, thank you for returning the book, which is this one. You can show it here. Now you can see the book name is correct. It is showing a brief history of humankind. Okay, so now the book name that you see, it is correct book name that is showing here. Perfect. Now let's quickly verify if this record is being added in the return status table. So let's see. You see now record is being added in the return status table as good, and this is the date, which is today date it is being returned. Okay, now let's see the in a book table. Let's see if in case it is added and it has changed the status in the book table or not. Okay, let's see. Now you can see in the book table this book is now showing as available, which is yes. Okay, if you want to verify it, you can just run only this book table. So we need to just find out humankind, so which is going to be this one, right? This is the book. You can see status is update as yes. Okay, so this is how you can create store procedures which you have done. You need to debug, you will do mistakes, but that is okay. So main core logic is that how you have created. Okay, so this is the testing we have done. So I'm just going to keep everything for now. So let's go ahead and kind of keep everything for now. So this is how I'm calling functions, okay, or adding a records. We can test for other records as well. So let's test for one more record. So I will just need to get one of the issued ID where the book is not being returned. So let's say issued status. Let's check. Now we will take one more issued ID, which is maybe 140. Okay, and we will check if this ISBN that we see, this ISBN is status showing as a no. Okay, if it is not, we will change it where ISBN equals, can just put it in one quote. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. Oops, I just need to delete this semicolon. So this is seems to be showing as yes. We will need to change it. Okay, first of all, so to change it, we can use the update statement, and we can say update books set status equals no. Okay, assume that the book is being issued, and we can say where ISBN equals this. Okay, so let's go ahead and update it to no. Okay, so it is updated to no. Now we can just go ahead and kind of check on the top again. Now I can see the book status is showing no. That means it is now not available because this book is being issued. Okay, now let's kind of go back and kind of add a record to the return table. Let's first see if it is not a return or not. Okay, so we can go ahead and say again the issue table here, and I think what I was working for, need to check the ISBN. So here the ISBN I was testing for this, which is ending with 8. Let's see the issued ID again. I forgot the issued ID. So issued ID, it seems like it has two issued ID. Okay, now one is called 106, one is called 104. So let's say we are working for 104. Okay, let's just write it down here, is 104. Okay, so this is the book that we will return, and we will create a return, and we will see if this our function is working or not. Okay, now this is fine. Next what we need is the call the functions. So is 140, right? Let's just call the functions again here. Oops. So I would say rs, I can give any name, which is called 48, and this name I just want to give 140. Okay, 140. Now I will be adding this record, and I will see if this update our book table or not. Okay, before that we can see how many records in the return table. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the return table, the records we have at the moment. So at the moment we have 20 records. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and execute this code. Okay, so it seems like okay, this is this has updated the records, and this has added a record in the return table. We can check how many records now we have, which is going to be 21. You can see, so that has added a new records, which is as a good, which is this one, is 148 for issued ID 140. Okay, so let's see if this has updated the book status to yes or not. Okay, so we just need to say here this code. Now you can see the book status is showing yes. Earlier we had changed it to no, right? So that means our function is working perfectly. Okay, so we have done two testing here. Now again, at the end of this video I will create one more functions to solve this problem. So wherever the book is issued, that will automatically convert this status to no. Okay, so this was it. Now let's kind of see the task, which is going to be next task, task 15. Now the task 15 is going to be the easy task. Okay, so we just need to create a C task here. Okay, so let's see the task 15. So the task 15 says a branch performance report. Create a query that generate a performance report for each branch, showing the number of books issued, number of book return, and the total revenue generated from the book rental services. Okay, so this is what we need. We need a simple join here. So we will say select everything from branch. Select everything from branch. We want to see each branch detail first from branch. Okay, let's see each branch details. So we have this branch detail, you can see it here. So we can see all the branch details here. Okay, now we want to find out for each branch what is the total book issued, what is the total book return, and what is the rental income. Okay, now we need a lot of informations here. Okay, so we can find some of the informations in the return table. So we can say issued table. So select everything from issued status. So in the issued status we can find out if the book is being issued or not. We have issued ID, issued member ID. Okay, but we don't have anything called branch ID, but we have something called issued employee ID. So based on the issued employee ID, because each employee ID has a branch associated with them. Okay, select everything from employees. So let's go ahead and say select everything from employees. You can see each employee ID. Now you can see each employee ID has something called branch ID, right? So based on the employee ID we can get each branch ID. We will also need the book and return table. So I would say select everything from books, because from the books table we will find the rentals. Now you can see we have the book table. So in the book table we have the rental information, the price. Okay, now we will also need the return table, because we will need to count how many total orders are being, how many total books are being returned. So I would say select everything from return status. Okay, so all this table we need to join to get each branch and their performance. Okay, so let's start step by step. Okay, so first let's do a join between this issues a table and this employees table, book issued table and the employees table. Then we will do a join with the branch table. Okay, so I will just use this query from here. not here but the issued table. We'll start with the issued table. I'm going to name it called ist. Okay, so I will say here join. Okay, now join with what? Join with the employees table. Okay, employee se. Okay, fine. What is the conditions? Which is going to be on e dot, both the table has employee id. Okay, so in the issue table you have the employee id, in the employee table also you have the employee id. So this is going to get you the each employee id, branch id. You can see it here. Okay, so you can see employee id and I got their positions, their salary and their branch id. Now I will join this with the, based on this branch id, I will join with the branch table. So I would go ahead and say that join branch sb on, I would say that e dot branch id, and I would say b dot branch id. After writing every code, try to validate that if it's working or not, because that is how you will save a lot of time in debugging. So you can see I am getting branch id based on this branch id from the employee table and branch id. Now I know that each branch and the number of book they have issued. Okay, because we have joined with the issued table, which is 39. Now I need the return table as well. Okay, so I will join with join returns, return status, right? As rs, I will join as again on, I would say rs dot issued id and rs dot issued, because both the table have issued id common, right? So that is fine. Next what I need is the rental income, right? See, I have not yet got the rental income, because rental income, to get the rental income I need to join again with the book table based on this ISBN that you can see it here. Okay, so I will say one more join, then I would say books as bk, and I would say on ist, because in ist table I have something called ISBN, which is issued book ISBN. So I would say dot issued book ISBN equals, and I would join with bk, which is the book table. So book table dot ISBN, right? Right, so this is done. Now I did one mistake, okay, intentionally. I'm just going to fix that for now. So let's see. Now you can see the total record is showing 18, because we have done an inner join with the return table, and in return table there are only 18 books that are being returned. So that means here I need to deal with it. Okay, I need to do a left join, because I need everything from all this table. Okay, then I want to do a left join with the return table, because I need only the return status that is available from the return table, and I need rest everything from all this table that I have done. Okay, then I will do inner join with the book table. So let's go ahead and run it now. Now we have all the columns that we need. Okay, so what we need is that each branch id that we can get from the branch table. So I will say what I need is branch id. Okay, I would say oops, b dot branch id. Let's say I also need the branch manager as well. So I would say branch manager id b dot branch managers, which is going to be manager id. Okay, next what I need is this the total rental income. So I would say sum on the rental income, which is going to be on the rental price column. Okay, so we have a rental price which is coming from the books. Okay, so I would say bk dot rental price as total revenue. Okay, now total revenue, got it. Now we need to find out how many books they have issued and how many books they have returned. Okay, so how many books they have issued, that you can get from the issued table using simply count function. So you can say count of this issued id. Okay, so that's going to be count of issued id, count of issued id that is coming from ist table, which is issued status table, ist dot issued id. So this is going to be number of book issued by each of the branch. Okay, now that is fine. Now I need number of books that is being returned. So I would say count of again rs dot return id. This is going to give us the number of book return. Okay, so I would say number of book returned. Okay, So all fine. So I just need to do a group by these two columns so that I can get all this count and revenue and everything. Okay, so I will simply go ahead and say group by 1 and 2, the first column and the second column. So I have each branch and their performance. Okay, now you can see I have each branch ID, manager ID, and I have their book issued, the details, number of book issued details, number of book return details, and the total revenue that is generated by each of the branch. So here I can save this query in a C task, which is called create table as a task. So I can say create table, and I can just name it call branch reports. Okay, and I would just say S. So this is going to create a new table in our database, and next time we don't have to write all of this code. If you just want to see the branch performance, you can simply go to your database and you can see there's a table that is created called branch report. You can see it here. Okay, so you can simply say select everything from branch reports. Okay, even if you delete this code, that is still going to work fine. See, I will have the branch report. Okay, now if you want the branch last 1 hour reports, that is also you can create. So you can create something called branch annual reports. Okay, so what you just need to do, you just need to use in the where functions, you just need to use the reports for the last 1 year. Okay, so that is what you can do. Before this group by, you can add a logic here, and you can create branch annual reports. You can create each employee and their performance like this using C task. Okay, so for that you just need to group by each employee and their total book they have issued, their total revenue, and their total book that is been returned. So all this task you can do using C task. Okay, see this one, which is task 16. So it says create a table of active members. Okay, so this one we will solve. This is very easy one here. Let's see. Okay, so it says create a C task. Okay, we need to create a table as a select statement. So it says that use create C task statement to create a table active members containing member who have issued at least one book in the last 6 months. Okay, so this is what we need to find out. Let's see, find first of all everything from issued table, from issued status. So in the issued status we have something called issued date. You can see it here. So we want to find out if any member has issued any book in last 60 days, last 6 months, that member should consider as an active member, isn't it? So what I can do here, I can just simply go ahead and say issued status. From here I can simply go ahead and say something like this. Okay, so select the member ID, which is going to be issued member ID, issued member ID. Okay, so where this issue date should be last 6 months, isn't it? So I would simply say where issued date. Okay, now I just want to ensure that this issue date is last 6 months. Okay, now what I can say is that here issue date is issue date is greater than last 6 months. Now how do you select the last 6 months? You can say current date, okay, minus 6 months. So you can use interval and you can say 6. Now this interval function is going to simply minus from the current date minus 6 months, and it is going to give us the 6 month old. So we are saying this issue date must be greater than or equals to, okay, greater than or equals to this current date minus 6 month interval. So if you just want to see what result it returns, you can just write it, print it, and you can see that it is returning 6 month old date, which is February 24. Okay, from the current date exactly. So we are saying, hey, select me all the members where this issue date is less than, greater than equals to this 6 month old date. So if in case any of the issue dates exist in this duration, that means this member I want to see. Okay, before that I want to see everything, and I want to see this member as well. So let's kind of run it and we will see the result. Okay, you can see all the records that we have in the last 6 months only, which you can see it here, and that's the reason we are getting all the records which is in the last 6 months. Okay, so let's change it to, instead of last 6 months, let's change it to, let's say last 45, or let's say last 2 months. Okay, let's change it to 6 months to 2 months, and let's see how many books are issued in last 2 months. So you can just change it to 2, and you can just run it. So if the book is issued in last 2 months, we want to call this member as active. So you can see these are the record where this book are issued in the last 2 months. So you can see it here, right? And for this for this member id, which is all of these members. So these members are the active member. Okay, so I will just change it to something called distinct here, because I just want to see the distinct member id. Okay, who have got the book in last 2 months, and these are this, right? 6, 19, 5 and 18. So all these members I need their informations like their name and everything. Okay, so I can just use this in a subquery. So I'm going to say select everything from members. Okay, and I can just use it as a subquery where I would say where member id in, and in this subquery I can put this whole query. Okay, I would just say shift. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm saying, hey, select all the members where member id is from this. So that means these are the active members. Okay, well, if I just run this query, it is going to give me all the members informations who has issued book in the last 2 months. Okay, now this one I can save in a CTAS, and I can go ahead and say create table, and I would say active members. Okay, and I just need to say s, and that's it. So that is going to kind of give us the active members. So whenever somebody execute this functions, which is select everything from active members, and they will see the latest active members. Okay, you can see it here. So they just need to run something called select everything from active members, and they will have the latest active members. All of these are active members because they have issued at least one book in the last 6 months. Okay, now you will see one table has created called active members. Okay, so that is here. So I'm just going to change this 6 month to the 2 month in the database. Okay, so that was question number 16. Now let's see the question number 17. It says find the employee with most book issued. So write a query to find the top 3 employees who have processed the most book issued. Display the employee name, number and their branch. Okay, so you just need to do a join, simple join, to kind of solve this problem. So I'm just going to solve it for you. So it says find employee with the most book issued. Process, we need to find top 3 employees who have processed maximum book. Display their name, number and the book process, and also their branch informations. Okay, so you just need to do a join. Okay, so I will say again select everything from, I would say, books SP, because I need the display name, number of books they have issued and their branch. So I don't need the book, but select everything from, I would say, issued status as IST. I will need to again do the join issued with the other table. So let's see what are the things we need to find out. Display their name. So to get the name, we need to join with the members, right? So we can say not the member but the employees. Okay, so join, you can say inner join with employees SE. Okay, on E dot, you can say employee ID, Okay, let's see what we have in the employees table. So we will just need to check the common column. So in the employee table we have something called imp ID. Okay, and in the issued table we have something called, which is going to be issued imp ID. Okay, so with these 2 columns we need. So I would say that on E dot imp ID equals ist dot imp ID. Okay, so that is how I have done the join. Now I just need to get few of the columns. Let's see, I got each member and their informations like their name and everything. Okay, so name and number of book they have issued, which you can use as a count functions, and their branch information. So to get their branch I need to do one more join, and I can say join branch as B, and again I think I already have the branch ID, so which is here, which is coming from this table, which is employees table. So based on this branch ID I can get their branch name, and I can say on E dot branch ID equals P dot branch ID. Okay, so I have all their branch informations as well. Now I just need to find out whatever I need in return. So what I need in return is their name. So name will come from employees. Okay, so in the employees table we can simply go ahead and say that E dot employee name Okay, so I will again need to check what is the column name in the employee table. So let's go ahead and see this imp name, that's correct. So I would say e.imp name, and then I would say what I next need is the number of book they have issued. So I can use the count functions, count of star or ist issued id. Okay, so next what I need is display the name of employee, number of book they have proceed or issued, and their branch information. So I just need their branch information, so I can say star b dot star, so everything from the branch table, and I just need to do a group by this and this. Okay, number of book issue. Okay, so I'll just do a group by first and 2, group by 1 and 2, so I will have the result. Ist issued does not exist, ist dot. Okay, now I can see each employee id, their branch id, manager id, branch address, contact number, and the book they have issued. Okay, so this is how we have solved the task 17. Now I will just solve one more task, maybe, which is the last task, and rest of the task you can solve by yourself, otherwise the video is going to be really long. So let's solve this last task, which is going to be task 19. Okay, so this is the most difficult task we have in this project, the complex query you need to write. Okay, so let's understand. So it says create a store procedures. Okay, fine. So it says create a store procedure to manage the status of the books in a library system, which is for us, and we have the description. It says write a store procedures that update the status of a book in the library based on its issuance. Okay, so as soon as the book issued, the status of the book in the book table should change to no, because we only have one book, one quantity. Okay, so the function should follows as this, like the store procedures that we want to create. Store procedure should take the book id as an input, as a parameter. The procedure should first check if the book is available. Okay, so first of all, the condition is very simple. It says the procedure should first check if the book is available. The status should be yes. Okay, because if the book is available, then only in the book table, then only you can add a issuance record, you can issue the book to another members. Okay, so if the book is available, yes, then it should issue the book, and the status of the book should be changed to no in the book table, and it should be adding a record in the issuance table. Okay, if the book is not available, it should say no, right? The status should again, status is no if the book is not available. Then procedure should return an error message saying, indicating that hey, this book is currently not available. Okay, so we may showcase the book name as well. So we will create one more store procedures to solve this problem. So for this we will need one table called select everything from books, and we need the second table, which is the issuance table. Okay, very simple, issued status. Now if you see in the book table, we have all this column, right? We have ISBN, book title. So what I need to check is this status. Okay, so if this status showing yes, then only we can issue the book. If the status showing no, that means we cannot issue the book. And if it is showing yes, we will issue the book, we will add a record in the issuance, and then we will update this status to no, so that next time we cannot issue the book. Okay, so that's what the logic we will build here. And if you see the status table, we already have 39 records. Okay, so here we will just add a new records, that's it. Okay, if in case the book is not available, we will not add the records, we don't have to do anything else. Okay, now let's see how we can do it. So let's kind of run this query again. Now again, syntax is going to be same for the store procedures. So I'm just going to kind of write create or replace procedures, and I will name this time call at book issuance. Okay, issue book, I will just name it call issue book. Okay, so this is what I will name it right now, and the parameters I want, which is to issue a book, what are the things I need, right? So let's just check. So to issue a book, I first of all need the issued ID. Okay, so here that's a mandatory, so I would need something called issued ID. That's my one parameters I need. And then I would need a member ID, the active member ID. Okay, so I would say issued member ID. Okay, so this is a foreign key. I will need this as well, and I will need something else which is called issue date. Okay, so that is what is going to enter by the system, so I'm going to ignore it. But book ISBN, which is the most important thing, so I would say issued book ISBN. Okay, so these are the things user has to enter. As soon as the user carry the book, I will ask, hey, what is your member ID, and I'm going to ask like, hey, what is your, I mean, issued ID is going to generate by the system, but here we will enter manually, and then we will check the book ISBN. Basically we will scan the barcode of the book. Okay, so employee ID, yes, I need the employee ID, like which employee is adding the book. Okay, so I would say issued imp ID, because we want to track that as well. Okay, so all these are parameters. Let's quickly check what are the things we need. So issued ID will be needing, so I would say p underscore issued ID, so that we will enter by the employee. Now issued member ID, we will ask the membership ID, so p underscore member ID, it's a parameters. Now ISBN we will scan from the book, and issued employee ID, it's a parameters. Okay, so these are the parameters I need. Now again, I need to say language PSPL PG SQL. You need to remember it. Procedure language Postgres SQL, S delimiter as dollar. Now you just need to say begin, declare, then we have begin, then we have something called end, oops, then we have this delimiters. Okay, now this is just a syntax. Okay, so this is where we will write all the logic. We will write all the logic here. Okay, all the code, correct, all the logic we will write it here, and all the variable we will declare it here. Okay, now let's start one by one. Okay, so let's see what first task we want to see. So first, as soon as the user give the user ID, I mean the issued ID and the member ID and issued book ISBN, we will first check if this book is available or not. That's the first task, right? So let's go ahead and write it here. Okay, so first task I will say checking if book is available, which means yes, right? The status should be yes. If the yes, then book is available. So I would say select, okay, and everything from, or I would say select status from books where ISBN equals what user will enter, right? So what is the user ISBN will enter, which is going to be this ISBN, right? So book ISBN, this is going to enter by the user. Okay, this is my first statement. Now again, I need to define the data type. So issued ID is going to be varchar 10. So this is the limit, up to 10 characters they can enter. Issued member ID again going to be, I think, varchar 30. So I will define it here. Oops, varchar 30. Now next what I need is the issued book ISBN, so it's going to be varchar 50. So varchar 50 of my third parameters. Issued employee ID, that's going to be, I think, varchar 10. So varchar 10. Okay, so all these data types you need to define. It's very important. Okay, so let's kind of go ahead and write it properly. Let's keep it this way only. Okay, so I'm saying get the status from the book where ISBN is this. So basically you will only get one status, either yes or either no. Okay, so this one I'm just going to save it as something called v underscore status. Okay, I will just name it call into variable, and I'm saving it as v underscore status. So my first task is done. I will just define this variable as variable, and I would declare it as the what I'm getting is the like varchar. Okay, varchar maybe for the status yes and no. I think it's one column. Let's see the book table. Okay, so I think it's a small varchar with 10 characters. You can see it's 10. Okay, so here I'm going to define it as a 10. So I will say simple varchar 10. Okay, so closing this statement, fine. So this is kind of getting the book status, it's checking the book status is available or not. Okay, Now what I want is if the book is available. Okay, if the book is available, so I need something called if the book is available, then I want to write my logic here. Okay, now if the book is not available, okay, then I want to write my else logic here, which is called else, and something called and if. Okay, so this is what I need to do. So I would say if, and here I will write my logic. Now what I want to check, I would say if this varchar, okay, v status, if this v status is equals to yes, which I'm expecting, okay, then I want all this code to be executed. Okay, so what is the code? What I want to do is right here, right? What I want to do, I want to kind of add a record in the book issuance table. I want to issue a record, so I would say insert into issued status. Okay, now what are the column you need to issue a book? So let's just check again. So I will say what I need is, which is called issued ID. Okay, so I will say issued ID what I need. Next what I need is, let's see the parameters. So issued ID, then member, so issued member ID what I need. So I would say here issued member ID, where I want to insert the value when I will insert a record in the issuance table. Next what I need is going to be this one, which is member ID and ISBN. Okay, so I would enter into these columns. Let's go issued ID, issued member ID, column name should be correct, right? Issued ID, issued member ID, and issued ISBN. I also need the date, so I would say issued date, which is going to be the current date. I need the issued book ISBN, issued book ISBN. Okay, so all these records I want to enter. I also want this employee ID, right? So that's going to be issued imp ID. So I will say here one more column, issued imp ID. Okay, so these are the actual column name of the issue table where I will insert the values. Okay, so I would say values. Okay, now you need to ensure that this code is inside this if logic. Okay, so I would just put everything inside the if logic. So I would say values, what I want to end values. So the values I want to add as like whatever the employee has entered. So I want to add here as a issued ID is parameter of issued ID. Okay, so this is going to entered by the employee. Next what I need is the issued member ID, which is again going to be entered. That will go into the member ID. Okay, so that is here. Next what I need is the issue date. So issue date is not entered, but we will use the current functions current date. Okay, next what I need is the issued ISBN, that is going to enter by the users. So issued book ISBN, so that is here. Next what I need is the issued employee ID, that is also going to enter by the users. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of say that this ends here. Okay, this kind of add the records. Okay, that is the task one, and this is kind of check which is outside of if logic. Okay, so else, now we need to put the else logic, and it is say and if. So once it is entered, we want to display message, right? So using a raise notice, we can just say that raise notice, and we can say that book, which is ISBN. Okay, book ISBN. Now we can just use a placeholder. So, or I can say one book record added successfully. Okay, book records added successfully. Okay, for book ISBN, and we can just replace as a placeholder. So outside comma, and I can say ISBN. Okay, what is the ISBN? So the ISBN that user has entered, which is this one. Okay, so this raise notice I end it using this column. Okay, so these things only happens only if the v status that we got for the ISBN that user has entered, that is as yes. Okay, if it is no, then it nothing happens, then just we raise then we just raise a notice inside this as else logic. So in the else logic, what it notice we raise that, okay, something like this. Thank you for requesting, or we can just say sorry to inform you, the book you have requested is unavailable. Okay, and we can say book ISBN, use the placeholders, and we can just replace the book issued ISBN. Okay, so the book ISBN that the user has entered. Okay, now that's it. So we can just close this and logic that we started here, okay, using if. So here we can simply go ahead and kind of create the procedures. One more thing we need to do, if the record is added, so we want to do one more thing, right? What else we want to do is that we want to update the book status table, right? So that is again going to be same, the update that we have done in the earlier logic. So that is going to be the same. I will just copy from the earlier store procedures. Okay, this time we want to update it to no. So that is what we will do. So from here I will just copy the update statement. So here I would simply say that in these procedures, after the insert, I want this update, right? So what I want is the update, correct? So I would say set status to, instead of yes, to no. For what, where this ISBN equals b.isbn. Now this time the ISBN is being entered by the user, so I would just use this one. Okay, so this closed, okay, this closed, this also closed, and the escalation, which is raised notice, sorry to inform you, this is also closed. Okay, this placeholder I'm replacing with this issued ISBN. So everything looks fine. Let's go ahead and now create this store procedures. Okay, so I think there is no typo, so let's go ahead and kind of see if there's any typo. We'll be able to see. Okay, seems like it has created the store procedures. Now let's go ahead and kind of run this, kind of call this code, which is called call, and we can say call and issued book, and we just need to give the parameters. Okay, so the parameters that we want to give is going to be same, which is going to be issued ID. Okay, so first of all let's go ahead and check the tables, so to get some of the data. Okay, so let's go ahead and see the book table. So let's say we want to insert a records for one of the book which is showing as yes this time for now, which is called yes, this one. Now we will need the book ISBN, so let's kind of click on it and copy it. Okay, so I would just say this book that we will insert now. Okay, that's the one thing, and we will also insert a book which is showing as no, then we will see what happens. Okay, this one, the book. So this book we will try to insert. It is currently showing status as no, this is currently showing status as yes. Okay, we will see what happens. Okay, let's see the issuance table to get the sequence of the issued ID. So let's say issued IDs we have till 154, so I'm just going to use 155 and 156. Okay, so let's see the parameters that we need to insert a records. Okay, so we will call this function called issue book. Now what are the things we need? So we need something here is called issued ID, so we will add it, call 155. Okay, so 155 as a varchar. Okay, and starting with is. Okay, that's the issued ID. Second, what we want is the member ID, so that's going to be C108. would say C108 for any members. Okay, just for testing purpose. Next, what we need is issued ID, issued member ID, issued date, right? So date is going to enter by the system. So let's see the parameters. Issued ID, issued member ID, got it. Issued book ISBN, right? Next, what we need the ISBN, and then we need the employee ID, correct? So after the ISBN, next what we need is the employee ID. Okay, so let's go ahead and say ISBN for yes. Let's try for the yes first. Okay, so I would just say yes. ISBN is going to be this. Next, what I need, one of the employee ID who will enter the records. So that's going to be employee ID 104. So I can just say employee ID E104. Okay. Now we can just execute this code. Let's see what happens. So issued ID ISBN. Okay, so there is a spelling mistake. Issued book ISBN does not exist. So we just need to check. Okay, in the function something called issued book ISBN. Okay, where ISBN is, okay, yes, this is not issued book, this is what the user is entering. Okay, so we are updating the book status to know if the ISBN, whatever the ISBN the user is entering. Okay, so let's kind of create it again, and we will run it. Okay, created successfully. Let's try to insert now. You see it's successfully inserted. Congratulations if you have managed to create this store procedures. You can say, hey, book record added successfully for the book ISBN, and this is the book ISBN. Okay, and let's say if in case we try to insert a book which is this one, let's see what happens, because this book is not available at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to add one more call, and I'm going to add this records which is this one, and I will add it here. Okay, so let's go ahead and say that this time I want to give it ID call 56, and everything remains same, the employee remains same, this ISBN is different. Okay, let's see what happens. You can see that it says, sorry to inform you that the book you have requested is unavailable, book ISBN, and this is the one. Okay, so this is how you can handle escalations. Here you can see it here. Now if you want to just verify it, okay, we can say book ISBN, and we will see that the book which is starting with 982, the status is showing yes. Earlier it will show no right now, so we can just go ahead and verify it. Okay, so we can say select everything from book where ISBN equals this. Okay, let's verify the status. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, now you can see the book status is showing currently no. I hope you remember earlier it was yes, correct? We can also check for this one, it will still show no because this book is not issued, because it was not available, right? So let's see, this one status is showing no, even it was earlier also it was no. Okay, so this is how we have created this store procedures, and you have seen how we can handle escalations, which is how we have handled the error functions here using the raise notice and if logic. Now you can build more parameters, you can add more parameters. You just need to define the parameters and data types, and you need to define the variables properly. If you want to ensure that if the member is active or not, you can again do more modifications in this query to check if the member is active or not. Then you can check if the book is available or not. Okay, then accordingly you can show the message. Okay, so I'm just going to save it. Now rest of the question that I left for you, so you can go ahead and solve it. You can write down your solutions in the comment box to help others. Now let's see how we should publish this project. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we can publish this project. I have saved this one, perfect. Okay, now let's first add the second insert statement. So I will just go ahead and say upload a new code in this one, and that's going to be the second insert statement. So I have saved in one of my folders, so let's just go ahead and say insert second statement. Okay, and I'm just going to add the queries here. Okay, which is my solutions that I have just written. So let's go ahead and add the solutions, which is advanced solutions 1, and I think it's going to be this one. So now I have added my solutions here. Okay, now we will first add all the records in this projects, and I'm going to show you how you can do from the scratch. Okay, so let's first update the solutions. To update the solutions, you can just click on this edit, and once you click on this edit, so you can simply go ahead and kind of select any of the question. So task 13, we just need to put our queries here. So you just need to use this sign, the apostrophe sign 3 times, and just write SQL in small letter, and you just need to write this sign again to end this code. Okay, so whatever the code you will enter, that is going to be like as a screenshot. That is going to take a screenshot like this that you have seen earlier. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy the 13 tasks that we have done. Okay, so the first task that we have done, which is this one, so just make sure the code is clean so that you can showcase your skills. Okay, so you can see I have copied the task here. Now I will just delete this extra space. Okay, and if I just save it, you will see the tasks, this 13 is going to be saved here. Okay, let's verify it. You can see nice code snipped here. So inside this 13 you can see it here, right? So you need the same template. So for 14 as well we need the same, so I'm just going to use inside the 14. Let's add the 14 task, which is going to be here. So this was the 13 in the advanced sections. Let's add the 14. So I will just copy this apostrophe, and I need the 14 task here. Okay, so I will just add the task here. I will just copy paste the 14 task. Okay, let's see what we have done for 14. So for 14 we have kind of created, I think, the store procedures. So this start from here, this end here, and we have done some testing. So I will also add the testing as well, which is going to be this logic till here to here. Okay, so we can just add here a line called testing the function. Okay, so we don't need this. So this is the testing what we have added. Okay, now let's go ahead and save it. So that's going to save our 14 task as well. Next we will need rest of the task. Let's quickly verify it because it's the long code. Let's see if it as if this has added successfully. You can see the task 14 has added successfully. Okay, you can remodify the question based on how you want to showcase. Let's add the task 15 if you have done the task 15. So for the task 15 it's simple join which you have done. So task 15 will be here. So let's go ahead and add the task 15. That's going to be task 15. Okay, SQL, and I just want to mention it here inside the task 15. Okay, now I can see the task 15 here. Okay, let's go ahead and kind of add rest of the task, which is going to be SQL task 16. Let's see if let's see if we have done task 16. Okay, so for task 16, yes, we have done it. So very simple. Let's go ahead and kind of put it here. Okay, task 16 done. Now let's see task 17. Yes, we done also task 17 as well. So I will put it here, use this placeholder on the top, SQL and SQL. Okay, let's see task 19, which is our last task. So I'm just going to copy from here till the testing. Okay, first I will just copy the functions. That's going to be the task 19. So whatever the task I left, you can do it by yourself. So SQL. Okay, so this is the task 19, the last store procedures we have created. Okay, you can just delete this extra space. Okay, so this is fine. Now let's just add the testing. Okay, so the testing of the functions we have done here, correct? So we will save it as testing the function. Okay, so we can just remove this extra space, and we can just nicely format this. Okay, so this was task 19, task 20, and one more task which you can do it by yourself, which is task 18, because these are two easy tasks. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. Okay, now you can see all the tasks are added, starting from this image, this objective, this ERD, each and everything. Okay, all right, so you can see all the tasks and their queries added here. Okay. Okay, now let me show you how we can do it from scratch if you want to do it. So you just need to create a new repository. Before that, you just need to create a new account in the GitHub. So just go to Google, type GitHub, and you can sign up using your Gmail account, which is completely free. Now once you sign up, you will have a GitHub page like this. You can just click on this profile icon that you see it here, and you can just set up your profile, and maybe I will make another video for the profile. But you just need to go to this repository, and from here you can just create a new folders. Click on this new and just give a name call, maybe project library. Okay, you can just name anything, called SQL project library. Okay, test 2 for I'm just setting as a test. Make sure it is public, make sure this add readme is selected, or even if it is not selected, you can just edit it later on. For now, let's click on select it, click on save. Okay, so it is going to create a new folders. Inside this folder, you just need to load all this code and everything that you have done. So all these things you can download from my repository, which I have shown you at the starting of the video. So we will just go ahead and see whatever I have downloaded, which is this. I will just load everything. Okay, so it is going to create everything automatically, and you don't have to do anything. Okay, then you can just remodify the readme to add your code, and you can add your solutions. Okay, but you will get the templates. You can remodify whatever you want to, whatever changes you want to make here. So let's wait, it's saved. Now let's go ahead and save it. So here you can see that it has created the projects nicely. You see the heading and everything, all the codes are being added. You just need to add rest of the code as soon as you write it. Okay, so I can see it. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end. I know it's a very long video, but I hope it was worth it. If you have any suggestions, any feedback, if you have any other approach to solve any of the question, do let me know in the comment box. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching the video till the end, and do subscribe to my channel, support my channel. Have a good day. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.